In this episode, I am interviewing blogger and YouTuber Abby Lawson. Now, Abby is one of the queens of organizing, and she has built her entire career around creating content, organizing her own home. She has lots of tips on creating videos and blog content and how to get started with things like affiliate marketing.
You're listening to the Pro Organizer Studio podcast with Jen Obermeyer. Thank you for joining in. Jen makes it her mission to broaden the horizons of savvy businesswomen in the organizing industry by instilling confidence and inspiring authenticity. She is a devoted business coach and founder of the Inspired Organizer program. Each week, you'll gain new insight into strategies designed specifically for professional organizers. And now, let's get started.
Hello everybody, it's Jen at Pro Organizer Studio. If you guys are joining and you don't know who Abby is, Abby's going to introduce about her blog, about her YouTube channel. It's super fun, lots of home decor stuff and organizing stuff, so make sure you are following her if you are not yet. Okay, so Abby, you take it away. Please introduce more about your blog and about what you do.
Sure. Well, I started my blog, Just a Girl on Her blog, almost 5 years ago now. It's just crazy.
Congratulations.
2013. Thank you. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was just looking for a project. I didn't even quite know what blogging was, but I said, hey, that looks fun. Maybe I will try that. So I did, and I kind of caught the blogging bug, and my blog started to take off. And so at the beginning of 2015, my husband was able to come and join me full-time, and we've been blogging full-time together ever since the beginning of 2015, and we're still married and still happily married, so that's amazing. And then earlier this year, I guess in the beginning of June, we started a YouTube channel as kind of a companion to a blog, but really, we both really love organization, and that has we like the decor stuff, which we do a lot of decor on the blog as well, but our passion is really organization, so we wanted to make a specifically organizing YouTube channel, so that's called Abby Organizes. We've been doing that for about 6 months as well, so that is kind of how I got here.
That is so awesome. Yes, so I realized, I have been following you since before you started the YouTube channel. And so when I saw that you were really like changing direction a little bit and dedicating more time towards the YouTube channel, I got really excited. That was about the time that I was like, we have to we got to do an interview or something together because, I know, like you said, you guys have done so much, like the pictures that you share about your house and everything. And I love that you said you guys are so happily married. I have some kind of questions I have pre-selected to ask you, and then once we kind of get through those, I want to let some of our viewers chime in too. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of share with my professional organizers is the fact that you really have a full-time, like you said, a full-time career creating content, essentially, whether that's videos or on your blog, about organizing. And so I think it was going to be a really cool thing for you to share a little bit about what that is like, especially when you're sitting here as a professional organizer and it's like you work with people all day long and you're like, how can I really put some of my work out there, or create some content that's going to, showcase a little bit about what I do. And I tell people sometimes, I'm like, why don't you just start with something in their house? And they're like, but that's just my own house, so they kind of don't like see that as being exciting to other people. So I would love to hear just your general take on that.
Yeah, no, so I'm not a professional organizer, and all of my content is about my own house. So I only show my own house, which you would think would get boring for people, but we have, projects all the time. So, and we've actually had 2 houses. We moved a little over a year ago, so that helped too. We got a whole bunch of new content.
Right. Yeah.
So I absolutely think people want to see what you're doing in your own house, in your own spaces. People are super curious. Especially if you have hey, I'm a professional organizer and this is how I organize my own house. You have automatic credentials there. People will be blown away. So yeah, never be afraid to show your own spaces. And totally, it's great to show your client spaces and everything as well. But people will be, yeah, I never knew people would get so excited about how I organize my bathroom cabinet in my house, but they do.
I saw on your Instagram story yesterday about the new IKEA cabinets you're installing in your office.
Yes.
And that's what I love now about like Instagram stories, is that you can sort of show like the progress without having to have this perfect like after picture. It's like, hey, here's what I'm working on today. So so I love seeing how, you know, the organizing bloggers are using some of that social media channels to show like, just here's what we're working on. It's not perfect yet. It's not done. So I think that's
absolutely,
that's a huge takeaway, I think, for, you know, some of us who are trying to put ourselves out there a little bit more online. So my next question was, I know you've been into organizing for a long time, but how long ago were you even aware that professional organizing was a thing, or were you aware of that?
Yeah. Oh, I think it was probably around the time when I started blogging and kind of started meeting people online and talking to other people who loved organizing. So probably within the past 5 years, I would say, is when I kind of became aware of professional organizing, and that was something that people could do for a living.
So did you ever think that maybe you should be doing that?
I know. I love the possibility of that. If I had about 24 more hours in a day, I would probably do that. Or if for some reason the internet would break and we couldn't do what we're doing now, like that is so exciting, and I love the possibility of that as well. But right now, I don't know that we have time to add a client workload on top of what we're doing. So
I totally understand that. That's so funny. But I do have to tell you that it's just as, maybe even more so, like energizing to like help other people like get rid of their stuff and organize it. Oh, it's such a high. It's wonderful. It's awesome. Okay, so I want to ask you some more questions specifically about blogging.
Sure.
You know, I'm kind of asking in general, like, what tips would you give to a professional organizer who just wanted to start a blog? But also, I think that they would kind of love to know, like, what are good things to post about, or what do people really like to see versus, you know, what they're not interested in as much?
Sure. So I would say my first thought of when I think of a professional organizer starting a blog, like there are a bunch of different directions you could go with it. And I think the clearer you can be with your direction from the get-go, the more helpful like a blog and an online platform will be for you. So like I mentioned, like Donnie and I, and we have an assistant, it takes all three of us working full-time hours to keep just like the blog side up and going.
Yeah.
And we don't have like a professional organizing business that we're doing. So if your goal is ultimately to be like a blogger as your main gig, then you will, want to be putting like your main time and effort into that. If your main goal is to be a professional organizer, which is what I think most of your people want to do, then your blog and Instagram or whatever social accounts that you have along with it will be more of a showcase and portfolio of your work. So the way that you organize your site and where you direct people will all try to funnel them into your services and into kind of showing them, hey, if you partner with me, whether that's in person or online, like this is the type of thing that I can do for you. So it's just kind of your mindset of what do you want this blog and accompanying social media channels, what do you want those to accomplish for you? And so that will kind of determine where you place your effort and how you kind of set up your site. So that's the first thing I would say. I would say that no matter what your goal is, you absolutely want to start growing an email list from day one, so that you are capturing people who are interested in what you do and how you do it. The best way I found to do that is offer something really valuable for free. So some sort of, mini organizing course that you've put together through email, or, you know, just some organizing cheat sheets or printables or something like that, that you give to people in exchange for them giving you their email address, because that gives you, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all of the social media channels, they decide who sees what. But when you have an email list, you can contact them and you're in control, and you decide, you know, what you want to say to your list and when you want to say it to them. So they are more your audience. And so when you decide that you want to start offering online organizing services, you can send an email to this list of people who you already know is interested in organizing and say, hey, I've had a couple spots open for my online organizing services. Here's how you can connect with me to take advantage of that. So I would say that email list is huge. Make sure you do that. And then I guess the other thing that kind of jumped out at me, because I run across a lot of organizers on Instagram who have great organization ideas, and I just get giddy over their ideas, but it's kind of hard to see what they're doing because the photos aren't beautiful and great. So I would say, like, the number one thing for organizers that I see, professional organizers that I see starting social channels or a presence online, is that, like, if you can, you don't even have to buy expensive equipment. Like, I have taken photos with my iPhone and edited them on my iPhone that would be perfectly acceptable and clear and beautiful to show. But if you learn a little bit about lighting and editing and technique, and can get really beautiful photos put out there to display of your work so people can clearly see what you can do, that would be my other thing that I think I see most when I see professional organizers online.
I could not agree more. That is something I kind of preach about a little bit, or a lot, maybe, depending on when you hear from me. But yes, nice. I totally agree. Nice. And the sad thing is that unfortunately, we can actually create these great results. The client can be super happy with it. You can feel super proud of it. But sometimes what we're doing is just not that glamorous, and it doesn't happen in good way. It takes the extra effort. And so this is something, you know, we talk about consistently is, you know, it takes the extra time to kind of stage it a little bit and get the good, you know, get the window open and have your good lighting. But I couldn't agree more. That's like a really big thing for them. So I'm glad that you've noticed that too. So I'm not the only one. Can you tell us more, because I know people are interested about this, and I know I want to go ahead and tell them that, you know, you and Donnie are like really open, or at least you have shared in the past about the money that you guys make through blogging. I don't know if it's not super obvious probably to some people how a blog is monetized. So I would love it if you would just give us some like general ideas of like, even if maybe somebody is not really thinking of like trying to make a full-time blog in addition to their full-time organizing business, because I know that's a lot, but would you mind just sharing about what is the process of monetizing either an Instagram or a blog? Like, are you, you know, from the beginning thinking of, you know, pitching people, or do you just kind of like grow it a little bit and like let people come to you? Can you just kind of talk just really generally about that? Because I know it's a really big topic.
Sure. Yep. Okay. So the first thing I think I did to monetize my blog ever was I put 3 Google AdSense ads kind of like on my sidebar, or, you know, in my header and in different places on my site. So that's a super easy way. It's passive income. You just install the Google AdSense code, and it's not very much money at first, but as your page views grow, those will start to earn a little bit. So that's the easiest way. And actually, we don't have ads anymore, but it's a great way to get started.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do almost from the get-go, no matter how big your following is or isn't, is get involved with affiliate marketing. And if you're not familiar with affiliate marketing, basically what that means is you sign up. One of the examples you probably see a lot is Amazon. So if you sign up as an Amazon associate, you can go, and if you're using a storage cube that you bought on Amazon, you can, or that you just love, you don't have to have bought it.
Exactly.
You can grab a link that has a specific tracking code from Amazon and put it on your blog. And if people click that link, and purchase that storage cube, then you make a commission. So there are lots of companies. Amazon, you can start right away. Like if you go to Commission Junction or Share Sale, they have a bunch of advertisers kind of under their umbrella that you can get started with right away. And just as you're posting pictures of the organizing projects that you're doing for clients or in your own home, you can link to the different items that you're using those affiliate links. And when people click and buy things, then you make money. An example of affiliate marketing that you may have seen on Instagram and that I also use on my blog is something like reward style. Mm-hmm. So they're a little harder to get into. You do have to apply and be accepted. But once you are, then you can monetize your Instagram posts. So I'm sure you've seen those where people have the like to know it thing in their Instagram. So when people double click your photo, you have linked things in there and they get an email with affiliate links. And when people buy your products that you've linked to in that email, then you get a commission. So that's a way to monetize your Instagram. Shop style is another one that's like that, and you don't have to get accepted into it. It's a little easier to get started with. So if you don't quite have the following to get into reward style, you can do shop style, and they can help you monetize your Instagram that way. So that's affiliates, and you can start in with a lot of those really early. And again, when you don't have a lot of traffic, you're not going to make a lot of money right away, but you never know when a post is going to go viral or when your traffic's going to pick up. And then, it starts coming in little by little and that all builds on each other. So yeah, that's an option. You had mentioned about sponsors. Like, do you reach out to sponsors right away? I wouldn't. I would work on kind of building a base of your site and a presence a little bit first, so you have like followers to say like, hey, I have this really dedicated following of people who love organizing. Let's work together. There's no like hard and fast rule of when you can reach out to advertise or to sponsors. But if I had to give a ballpark, I would, I usually tell people around like 10,000 page views a month, at least. Once you have that, then you can start doing that. And a great way to do that at the beginning is there are middleman companies like Tap Influence or IZEA. There's even one called We've Made Media. They specifically work with bloggers who are at the beginning stages and don't have high page views yet. Pollinate is another one. So what these media companies do is they act like a middleman. So they have relationships with brands, and you can sign up. And if you're kind of accepted, then you'll get email blasts when they say, hey, brand X wants to do this campaign. This is how much it pays. And you can apply to that campaign. If you get accepted, then you get that sponsored post. So that is a way that you can start getting sponsored. That's how I started out with sponsored posts. You can get sponsored work without having to go and pitch to a brand directly. Now, when you get a little more established, or even if you don't, even if you have like a specific project in mind, then you can certainly go ahead and try to figure out the right person to contact. Reaching out, messaging a brand on Instagram or messaging them on Twitter or even on their Facebook page is a great way to say, hey, I'm a blogger, I have a project that I would like to pitch to somebody. Can you give me the right person's information so I can shoot them an email? And they're often, happy to do that. And so you can reach out to them and let them brag about yourself. Say, I'm a professional organizer. I do this full time. And I have this blog with a dedicated following of people who love organizing. And I think your product would be a great fit for them. And then just to build the relationship from there. So another way we monetize our site is digital products as well. So if you want to get into that along with your organizing services, that's another option.
This is so valuable. I just want to stop for just a second and remind everybody who's listening to this right now, this is what we're talking about. Abby is just a girl, just like her blog says. She's just a girl who loves organizing. And she has created a full-time career creating content around her passion. And this is this makes me excited because there is, the internet is like an amazing thing. And there are these, you know, mechanisms and structures and things that are in place that when you are consistent with putting out your work and sharing yourself, even if it's your own home organizing projects, like there are ways to monetize that and ways to like really take that a long way. So I just had to like stop and interject that it's incredible. It is incredible, like what you have been able to build with this, you know, and what that does for you and your families. Amazing. So on that,
yeah, we're still pinching ourselves all the time that we get to do this.
it's absolutely incredible. So the next thing I want to ask you about, and I know other people are going to have other questions, but I'm dying to know a little bit more about your YouTube channel, because at a certain point you said you've been blogging for 5 years, but earlier this year you decided, or the way I understand it, when I saw you announce it, you're like, I have this big thing, and then you're like, boom, I have a solely dedicated organizing channel, a YouTube channel, and your videos are so beautiful and so good. And you probably would be shocked at how many of your followers are actually, you know, other like organizers professionally, because they love to watch organizing videos on YouTube. Not a big surprise. So tell us, please, more about what made you decide to kind of focus that direction and what it's like now to really focus on creating video content versus just blog content.
Sure. Well, we had just gotten to a point where we kind of felt like we had been doing this blogging thing at that point for like 4.5 years. It kind of felt like old hat, like we were doing the same thing over and over. And we were like, how can we get excited about this again? You know, what can we do differently? What can we do different than what everybody else is doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how can we challenge ourselves in a new way? And so we threw around a bunch of ideas, but the thing we kept coming back to was video, because I feel like so much is going the way of video. So much of the way that people consume content these days is on video rather than in print. So we kind of wanted to jump on that while we could. There weren't a ton of people who had dedicated organizing YouTube channels. There are, you know, a couple out there, mm-hmm. but not a ton that we saw that were doing it and kind of doing it well. So we decided to do organizing because that's something that Donnie and I both love.
Yeah.
So we said, you know, hey, we're gonna learn this thing. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're gonna try it, and we're just gonna see how this goes. So Donnie kind of learned the more technical side of video. He does all the editing, and he's the cameraman. And, you know, I started studying YouTube videos to kind of see, like, what do you do in a YouTube video? I don't know. Yeah. And so kind of figured out, like, what to do, and kind of played to our strengths there and just started making them. And we've learned a ton along the way. I feel like we still have a ton to learn. There's still a long way to go, but we've had fun, and I think it's been what we've needed to kind of change direction and challenge ourselves a little bit more. I mean, it always, like everything, it takes way more time than we expected it to. It's way more difficult. I mean, it looks so easy when you watch YouTube. You're like, oh, you just like hold your phone up and take a video of whatever you're doing, right? And it's so not, like, we have so much equipment and like to get the sound and the lighting and all that stuff, and to figure out all the technical side of things. But we're kind of getting in the groove, and like that we're able to kind of spread ourselves out and be, because we post on YouTube. YouTube's a phenomenal search engine, so we get organic traffic that way. We can post it on our blog. Our blog readers, you know, are coming there anyway. We have an audience built up. So it just kind of gives us one more outlet, one more place to be, and kind of spread ourselves out all over the internet for people to find us. So it's been fun.
Building your empire. I love it. So tell me more about, okay, what is your process, or do you have a process yet for how you guys plan your video content? Because I mean, I can talk like casually like this all day, but I think it's very hard to come up with, okay, really, I got to commit to doing this project and I got to show the project. Like, how do you guys plan that out now?
Yeah. So we get ideas from a lot of different places. Like, we spend a lot of time like asking our audience, like, what do you want to see? What would be most helpful for you? Like, what are your struggles when it comes to organizing? So we do base it off that. Like I said, we built a house about a year ago, and so we have tons of projects that we need to do here.
Yeah.
So anytime we have one of those, like, we document it.
Yeah.
So
That's very practical. I mean, it's very practical to just be like, this is part of our life, and so I'm not going to go out of my way right now. I'm just going to show you what we're actually doing.
We have to do this anyway, so you might as well see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's a way that we get our content. We really try to be on par with whatever's going on the seasons. So we did, you know, a gift wrap video and like all sorts of kind of holiday, you know, organizing gifts for your organizing people who love organizing, that kind of thing. Just to, you know, stay current with, you know, what everybody's thinking about the holidays and Christmas. So we want to be talking about that. So we, you know, stay relevant and that kind of thing too. So we kind of take all those factors into account, and we try to plan a month or so ahead, or a little further as when content goes, so we know when we finish one project, like what we're doing next, what we have to start prepping for next. And if we can shoot a couple videos in one day, that's always helpful too, because then you only have one setup and one takedown, and you can get a couple weeks worth of content in that way. So it's definitely, we're still honing our process. It's again, there's like a lot of moving parts that all have to like happen and work together to make it all go. But it's been an adventure.
That is really, it's so cool. And I have to ask you this question. Do you feel, and I know this sounds kind of odd, but I have a reason why I'm asking this. Do you feel that now that you're, you know, doing more video and putting yourself out there more like that, do you have people that have actually like messaged you and they're just like, I love your style, like, can you just come to my house and organize me?
Yes. All the time. I definitely feel like video is a great connector. Like, it really makes people feel like they know you even more because they're seeing you and having you talk. And I always get people who are like, can we hire you? Like, can you come to my house and like do this at my house? And I was like, I wish, like, if I had an unlimited budget and unlimited amounts of time, like, yes, I definitely
would
do. Well, and that was so fun.
Yeah, that was exactly why I wanted to ask you that, because I really want to hopefully make the point, you know, that doing video and, well, really even with your blog, any step towards kind of putting yourself out there, sharing, letting people get to know you, it builds that know, like, and trust relationship. And then you have people, and we're talking about even if you're a professional organizer and you're only putting out a video once a month, not every week, it's then you have people who are just like, this is the person who I've seen her talk, I've seen how she acts, I love her style. Like, they're more inclined to, you know, probably hire you if they can, obviously, if you're local.
And tell other people about you. Like, I can't, it's super weird, but the first time it happened especially, but like when you show like a picture of something you organize and people start tagging their friends and are like, look at this. So not only are you getting those clients who, like, the first ones whose eyes are on you, but they're tagging their friends and sharing it. And if their friends are looking for organization services, like, it can spread like wildfire. So it's like word of mouth on steroids, the internet.
Exactly. And like you said, you know, it's like a known fact now, or the statistics are all trending towards video anyway. So it's going to be, I mean, I personally think it'll be harder and harder to stand out if people don't have a way where they can kind of see you and feel like they know you, like they're talking to you. It's just, it's a cool way. It's a cool way to, you know, it's an online connection, or it starts as an online connection, and then it can turn into a real life, like, client connection, which is
absolutely
incredible. And so much faster than going door to door, right?
For sure.
So what is, Abby, what's your number one tip, I guess, if you were going to start over today? What would you do anything differently? Would you just skip the blog and go straight to YouTube? Like, how do you view all that when you look back at the past 5 years?
So I don't think I would have skipped the blog and I wish I would have done YouTube earlier, because you know, YouTube at this point is like 10 years old or something. I mean, there's people who have like way head start on me. So I do wish I had done YouTube earlier, but I still love having a blog as kind of your home base and something that like you own.
Definitely.
So I think still have done the blog, but maybe have done the YouTube earlier. The number one thing I always say that I would have done differently is Johnny from day one was like, you need to start an email list. And I was like, I don't have time to do that. I'm writing blog posts right now. And so I put it off for like a year.
Yeah.
And after a year, I started deliberately trying to grow my email list, and that changed our business forever. So if I had listened to him from the beginning and started from the get-go, it would be even more so. And I could have done that earlier, but that it's just huge. Whether you're on YouTube or you're on you have a blog, even if you just want to kind of micro blog on Instagram, like I would have, even if it's just like one homepage where you can collect email addresses, like being able to contact people directly is absolutely huge. It's the reason that email is the reason that we can do what we do, and be able to support ourselves from a blog full time, is because we can contact that audience directly through email. So.
And do you mind me just asking you a question off the cuff, since you brought that up several times in this video? You know, what, like, describe for us, okay, for some people who kind of don't know about email marketing, like that is a thing.
Sure.
You know, I know that like you send out is it a weekly newsletter or just a pretty regular newsletter? But also when it comes to, you said, this is the reason why we can do what we do. What would you describe kind of basically like, you know, that you are connecting with people in a certain way that have expressed interest in a product, and that now you have a digital product to sell them? Like, tell some of us what that means that don't know.
Sure. Okay. So, one of the more obvious things that you could see, obviously, if you've ever been on any blogger's email list, is like, if I launch a new digital product, I can send an email to my list saying, hey, this product has launched and here's the amazing things that it can do for you. And then I go over into my shopping cart service and I watch the sales come in as a direct result of me sending that email. So, you know, I can shout about it on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. They're not going to show it to people unless I pay them. I can do that as much as I want and not see nearly, even posting on my blog, I don't see nearly as good of results as if I send people an email directly. We don't have to like go and email those people individually, like manually, and be like, hey, are you interested in this? Like, it's all set up automatically. They sign up for the free thing, and that also gives us the opportunity to mention, hey, we have this paid thing as well. So that all goes on behind the scenes. We write the emails once, and they do the work for us over and over again. So we have that we have some organizing printables that we sell as well. So we have a similar setup for that. So being able to kind of automate all those things and have somewhat passive income. I mean, there's a whole lot of work on the front end to create the product and set up the email system and all of that. But once we have that all set up, you know, we are making sales in our sleep and when we're on vacation, when we're hanging out with our kids, because it's all automated and set up for us.
Yes, it's very smart. It's a great strategy. And this works too. You know, even for an organizing business that, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, well, I don't have a product, like I'm all service. And
you are the product. Yeah,
exactly. Like, it's a way, you know, I know a lot of what our challenge is with our marketing is that the general public still doesn't really, you know or understand right away the benefits of organizing. Generally, when you tell somebody that you're an organizer, that once they understand what you do, they will say either that they need you or they know somebody who needs you. But it's slow going to make those connections one by one. So I do think it's pretty smart to utilize that opt-in method and then have like an automatic like welcome sequence or something, you know, for your business that then explains, it kind of does a little bit of that. Like, I'm so glad to hear a little bit of that educating, like, here's all the things, all the benefits of organizing. Here's some of the different things that our services can help you accomplish. Like, it might not just be what they thought that it was at first. And then at the end, it's like, you know, really presenting your services in their inbox rather than relying on them to remember to come back to your website and see what all your services were.
Right.
Because we're talking about disorganized people, you know? So,
right.
Yeah, so,
well, and I would say if you can like blow their mind with like free information, like give them those nuggets that they can take and apply in their own homes right away. Like you have then affected their life for the better for free first. And then when they do decide, okay, I need, you know, more than this, I need, you know, deeper help to think through these systems or whatever they're trying to do, you will be the first person that they think of and go to, because you have already, without asking them for any money, made a positive impact on their life already. So it's, I mean, it's just all about like serving people and you know, doing as much as you can for them, even for free first. And then you become that person for them, and they'll gladly come when they're ready for that.
Yeah, when they realize what they really want is somebody to just come do it all for them.
Right, right.
Like, I actually don't want to DIY this situation. Okay, I'm really glad we got a chance to talk about email marketing. That was a really good you know, nugget of wisdom. Okay, here's a great question from Karen. She says, as a professional organizer, what kind of content would be best to focus on in video if we don't have a chic, stylish home that looks like a show? Yes, Abby does. She said, I don't know how I would feel doing videos in other people's homes. Yes, so obviously being able to pull that off in a client's home takes a little bit of finagling. So what kinds of things would you suggest if you were kind of hard pressed for a location, Abby?
Sure. So I would say if you can come up with one location in your home, if that's all you can come up with, then go with that. And for us, at first, it was kind of like that, because like half of our house was like a work in progress. So we filmed almost everything like in front of the nook that I'm sitting in right now, because that was the only thing that was like done. So you can come up with one location. Like I have shown how I folded clothes sitting in front of this nook. I have shown, you know, my top YouTube videos so far that kind of went viral for me, as just been doing this 6 months, was called my 10 favorite organizing items from IKEA. So I stood in front of this same nook and kind of showed different items that I love from IKEA. So you could do that with your favorite organizing items. Like quick tips, like how you organize the hangers in a certain, you know, order, or, you know, little things that you do. If you can just come up with one background, even if you have, you know, a sheet or something that you can hang up behind you in one space, you can do a lot of like quick tips or show different tools that you use all in front of that same background. And that's how you get started from there. And then it kind of, for us, it kind of like lit a fire under us then to get more spaces done in our house so we could do it. So now, if we need just a background, it's either in the nook or like in our kitchen. Those are our two like go-tos, because those are done. And part of our process too is, you know, we are doing spaces little by little as we go along and showing those. So if you can you know, if you're working on a space in your house, like show it as you go along, and that gives you content too.
Absolutely. I completely agree. As a side note, I have seen a lot of organizers and even, you know, the interior decor kind of people on Instagram. They're doing Instagram stories like they're holding their phone and walking through the store, like they're talking about products in Target. Like it's not their own house. They're just kind of out and about. They're like in their day. So that could be another option, Karen, if you feel like you don't have like a good place with good lighting at home. Because I do feel like lighting is like a big key, either whether you're buying some lighting or just using like your natural window light. So I think that's a big part of it too. Couple more questions. Let's see. Here's another question about the back on the Instagram affiliate marketing. What's the best way to prep and then apply for reward style? Should you be at a certain amount of page views? I
don't know that they look at page views as much. They want you to have been doing it for at least 4 months. They are heavy on the Instagram side. So if you can grow your Instagram following, I mean, it doesn't have to be huge. There are people that have like 3,000 and 4,000 ish that get into reward style. So it doesn't have to be absolutely enormous. But they do kind of, I feel like, lend a little bit heavier weight to Instagram than maybe some of the other social channels. And then just show that you have like those beautiful pictures that we talked about, and really gorgeous content. That's what they're looking for, more than even like page views and everything, that you're going to be able to like represent them well.
Maybe this is the last question that I'm seeing, but this is a great one to end on. Ashley asked what email company you would recommend.
I use ConvertKit, which I really love. They have a lot of advanced automation features and stuff, which is how we set up all of our newsletters. If you're just getting started and you're not ready to like invest money in an email service yet, I use MailChimp for 2 years. They have a free service up to a certain number, I think it's like 2,000 subscribers. So you can start there, and then you can always migrate your list over to ConvertKit if you're feeling like you need more features. So that would be a free option to use if you don't want to jump in and, you know, add another expense right from the get-go.
I completely agree. And just having something just to get started is definitely okay. I would tell this to people all the time. It doesn't have to be the bells and whistles.
It doesn't have to be fancy, no.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Like MailChimp is definitely great for getting started. So, Abby, thank you so much for coming and sharing all of this. I am thrilled because that you said yes, number one, because I know you're like, well, I'm not a professional organizer, but I'm going to call you an unofficial part of our, you know, community. But like, seriously, like I said at the beginning, we really all are a part of the same industry, and it is fascinating to be able to talk to you about, you know, like I was saying at the beginning, this is your full-time career, creating content about something that you love, and you have been consistent with that for, you know, the last 5 years. And I know, you know, that's obviously a huge part of the success of what you guys do, is that you have not stopped even when you were just getting started and you're like, is anybody listening? You know, keep continuing to keep putting stuff out there and growing your following. So if you guys are not following Abby everywhere, it's, you know, just a girl Abby and Abby Organizes. You have 2 Instagram accounts. Only 1 Facebook page though, right? Is that right?
Yeah, just one Facebook page is just a girl on her blog.
Yeah, and then the YouTube channel is Abby Organizes. Subscribe to her newsletter so you can see how she does what she does with her email marketing magic. I have been watching Abby for a long time, and I think that what she does is incredible. She and Donnie are professionals. So thank you so much. I hope you
much for having me. This was fun.
This was really awesome. So if you guys enjoyed this, please tag a friend who is organizing obsessed, because they probably know all about Abby already. Or if you have a friend who needs to be a professional organizer, please send her my way. We really appreciate you guys being here tonight, and thank you again, Abby.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Organizers Studio podcast. If you'd like to learn more about time-saving services and resources for professional organizers, visit www.proorganizerstudio.com. And if you'd like to get Jen's roadmap to success for launching and growing your professional organizing business, go straight to www.proroadmap.com.